Welcome back to another episode of the Evolving the Single Parent Nation podcast. Today, I have not just a very special guest, but a very special person to me because we used to work together. We became really good friends, and now we're like sisters. So today we'll be talking to Chantel Mushet, my very good friend. She has been in healthcare for over 18 years and she is currently a single mom. So she's here today to share her journey, her story, and how she's overcome certain challenges. What's up, Chantel? Welcome.
Hello, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm here. I'm here.
Guys, all Chantel has, me and her, we have memories of just eating. It's always food. One of those friends where always hungry like myself, and we eat, we talk, we laugh, we have fun.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yes. So thank you for coming to share your story, your journey with us. Thank you for volunteering to be vulnerable. We just wanted to know, like, what has like been the most challenging parts of being a single mom? So you have three kids, a
Yes,
teen, two
yes.
toddlers.
I could say I was a single mom of one for 15 years. My story is not the same, but I could say I was in different phases of life as a single parent. Um, with my first one, I solely single parented by myself, and then we just kind of grew up together in a sense. And I hate to say it like that, but I was a teenager and we kind of just went through life together. And then with the last two, um, the co-parenting is what began now, a stronger co-parenting. So I had two different styles of being, but two different phases of being a single parent. Um, you know, but it happens. Life happens. Lessons are learned, and you got to just move on and pick up the pieces from there. But what was the question again?
So how have you overcome some of these challenges? Like what's really the most challenging part for you as a single mom?
Um, Equally dividing my time and setting up a routine and schedule. And that's the most important thing for me. If I stick to a routine, I stick to a schedule, everything flows. And I'm learning that things happen and
Mm-hmm.
things disrupt that schedule. So I'm kind of learning how to be a little bit more fluid and work in that. It's been very difficult because my oldest is he's down to he's no issue. He's a breeze. He never give me problems. The smallest one now, that's my challenging one that I have to kind of work with. But he's good. He's good.
Okay.
It's just it's balance.
Yeah, what's one parenting hack or strategy life has taught you and has been making your life easier?
Pre-planning, prepping, even the night before when you're tired, to prep everything the night before.
Yes.
Um, Keep and maintaining a routine. Kids they need a routine. They have to maintain their structure. I maintain a bedtime and don't feel bad about putting them to sleep at 7:30. I put them to sleep between 7:30 and 8 o'clock. There are days that we can't make it and we're out, but I try to maintain consistency in a bedtime. So the latest I let them stay up is like maybe 9 o'clock, but the consistency of a bedtime and just keeping them in a routine between the time they get up to the time they go to school to the time they eat to the time they take a nap, everything has to stay aligned.
Perfect. That's so true.
Mhm.
Once you go off that routine, like everything goes awry.
Yes, for sure, for sure. Absolutely.
No, a question to a Caribbean person. How do you handle discipline and boundaries as a single parent?
Okay. So you remember growing up, we had a room that we were not allowed to go into?
Yes.
That is the boundary. And I learned that my mom had that living room and she loved that living room and that was her little space of peace. And you couldn't go into that living room. And I learned and I couldn't understand like, oh, she doesn't want anybody to sit on her furniture, but that was her boundary and that was her peace. No one was able to go in there. The only person that sat in there was her because it was pretty, it was nice, it was decorated how she wanted to decorate it. So when I grew up, I was like, I'm not gonna have a room that you can't touch. your access to everything. But I realized my room is my boundary. I don't let my kids sleep in my bed. I don't let them use my bath. I do let them use my shower when I'm rushing or whatnot, but I try to keep them out of my room as much as possible because that's my peace and that's my private time. And there's no toys, there's no nothing in here. It's just my sanctuary where I'm able to just be myself. And if you have the you have to create your own space. That is very important. You have to create your own space. So the boundaries for me is I do not. I used to let them sleep in my bed. Mm-mm. No sleeping in the bed. Don't come in mommy's room. I'll sleep in your bed with you, but you're not sleeping in my bed.
Mm.
That's a big boundary.
Yeah, you have to do that early because
Yeah.
Faith is 11 and she still sleeps in my bed sometimes.
my my sister was like 15, 16, still sleeping in my mom's bed. I'm like, what? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I set that boundary. So when I got my new house, that was one of the things. My room is my room, and that's it. So.
Perfect. What's a proud moment you've experienced with your kids and how did that make you feel?
I recently did senior night with my 18-year-old, and I sat down and I was so stressed out because I needed it to be like perfect. So he plays basketball. So I've had him playing a sport since he was 3, 4 years old.
Mhm.
I'll tell you later why I did that. So he had his senior night, and I was so overwhelmed. But in all of that, I was able to take in his growth and how much of a man he turned into and how uh he stuck to it. He never gave up. He may not have been the most outstanding basketball player, but he was committed to going to practice. He went to all his games. He was consistent, and it gave him consistency. And to hear his coach speak about him,
Mhm.
say how he looks at him as a son, and how well mannered he is, and he has no it was touching because I know that I did something right with him. And then my daughter, she scored so high on her I guess there's like a her aptitude test or something like that. And
Mhm.
I'm like, my daughter, she scored high. I was so shocked. And I realized that when I'm beating myself up, I'm actually doing something right.
Yeah.
And you don't give yourself enough credit. So when I realized, okay, she's bright, she does listen, she is internalizing everything, and she's learning, she's picking up. She's a sponge, so she picks up everything that we do. It makes me realize how I'm doing a pretty good job. So yeah,
Yeah.
those are my two most recent experiences.
Okay. So let me just say that, I had actually interviewed a single dad.
Okay.
And he told me, I give everybody a preview of the questions I'm going to ask because I don't want anybody to feel uncomfortable.
Okay.
And, he said when I sent him the questions, he got chills because he never took the moment. Like you said, you felt good that, you're doing a good job. He said he never realized how well he was parenting,
Yeah.
so that's awesome that you actually were aware of your own, you know being a good mom.
Yeah. So, like I said, it was weird. I had this. I was speaking to someone, and I said, the blessing with the kids is we don't have to pick them up from school from getting in trouble or getting suspended. They were never arrested. We don't have to be dealing with no like all of that other extraness. And it was. I said we did pretty good. We kept them. Now they're all going to college or they're going into the military, and I'm like, we did good. We did really good.
Yeah. How do you balance being a nurturer and a provider without being feeling overwhelmed? Because as single mom, we're multitasking, we're always ripping and running.
Mhm.
We typically don't take care of ourselves.
No.
It took me I'm still trying to balance, I'm single mom doing it all, working a job, building my own business outside. So it's like I'm up ripping and running from 4 o'clock in the morning until 10, 11 o'clock at night.
Absolutely.
And sometimes I'm like, my body is signaling, hey, slow
Yeah.
down, stop. So how do you balance nurturing and whenever you're feeling overwhelmed?
One of the things that I learned now with 3 is to carve out special times for the kids where you're able to just have one-on-one time with them.
Mhm.
Uh, whether it's just taking them to get some ice cream or you just having soul time with them and you're watching a movie or you're just putting all your attention into them. Um, it, it's funny enough, it's like me just doing my daughter's hair and just sitting down and we're talking and she's telling me her little stories and I'm speaking to her. That's me nurturing her and giving her alone time.
Mhm.
My last one, he's rambunctious, but we have our moments where he'll just sit and just talk to me and we'll have our time. I don't necessarily separate the kids, but I think I am going to start separating the kids a little bit more so I can have little play dates or just our little mommy and child dates or whatnot. Um, but it's difficult. That's the most challenging thing is to make sure you balance nurturing them, providing for them, also setting boundaries. Because my oldest, I gotta kind of be like, listen, dude, you're spending too much money. Slow it down. You know, we can't do Uber Eats every day. You know, we gotta. So I gotta kind of put things in perspective of what is important. So that plays a big factor. So I spend as much time as possible. Well, my oldest, he had me for 15 years. 14, 15 years without any interruptions. So that, but he was spoiled. He was definitely spoiled. But I was at all his practices. I was at all his games, and um, I overextended myself. That sometimes I'm like, did I do him a disservice? But I know that my mom wasn't able to do that, so I put myself in that position. That if
Mhm.
I miss one game, he's like, "Mom, you didn't come to my game," and I'm like, "Dude, I had to work." Like, what? Like he's upset about it. But I'm like, what about all the practices I've been to and all the games and all this and that? But one game and he's devastated. Like, oh, you didn't make it. So I'm teaching him boundaries,
Yeah.
teaching him like, listen, we can't do everything, but I can do a lot.
Right.
Um, yeah. So that I guess in a nutshell, that I just you have to make time and you make time for what you want. So I'm off of Instagram, I'm off of Facebook. I do have TikTok, but I realize that I waste a lot of time on those apps, which takes away
Yeah.
from my family. So that's important.
I was forced to do the separate dating because it was kind of like the kids were on holiday. I forgot what holiday it was, and one wanted to go. They're opposite personality.
Yeah, I know.
One wanted to go west, and I was like, okay. And then the other one is like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. So I'm like, all right, Faith, I'll take you to go Simone Biles concert show. And this was after she had the Olympics, they had a show. And then I was like, okay, Wisdom, I'm going to take you to go see your concert. I have no idea who this artist was. It
Yeah.
was some artist from the UK. But I went and I showed up and I was like, okay, I don't even know one of the songs. And funny enough, I had a friend when I was at the concert, a friend of mine texted me and I'm like, I'm currently at this concert. I don't even remember the name. And he's like, really? I like those people. I'm like, how do you even know them? Because I don't. But yeah, it's good when you go separate and you actually have that one-on-one moment where you can say, hey, what's going on in your head, especially when you're older.
Correct. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's good. How do you budget and manage financing as a single parent? Is there a system that you use?
It's hard. It's hard. Because I was a single parent that didn't receive child support.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did was I had to hide money from myself. What I liked about my job was they were able to separate your check and you
Mm-hmm.
can have a certain amount put in one account, a certain amount put in another account. So how I used to do it was I get like $100. And it doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a lot. $100, and I had 50 going to one account, 50 going to another account. And I don't have a debit card or any access to that card. I would have to physically go into the bank to remove that money. So um, the week you get paid, you always have the less money or whatnot. So when I was at the week I would get paid, I'm like, okay, I gotta get gas, I gotta get a few groceries just to make it through the week. and I would have to physically, because we become so lazy with all this automated systems that we don't even have to, or we just tap our phone. That to physically go to the bank requires so much that you don't even want to use the money. At least for me. So that was the only thing that would save me to not be struggling in a sense. So I hide money from myself, and it's to the point that it got to a point where I didn't even touch the money, and I looked at the account. I'm like, oh shit. I didn't even realize I accumulated so much because you start to live off of that. And the other thing I did was cook.
Mm-hmm.
Have to cook. When you spend so much money on food outside, and I understand you have so much going on, but you just have to cook. And I realized that I would spend maybe like $50, $60 on a meal for one meal, and then that $50, $60 could have made a one meal that stretched for a whole couple of days for us. So a hack that I use is I make one big pot of rice, whether it's rice and peas, red beans and whatever, white rice. I make a big pot of rice at like Saturday or Sunday, and then I cook my meat throughout the week because it's just easy to cook the meat. And like I said, the night before, you prep everything. I don't care how tired you are, even if you just take the meat out to defrost and then whatever. But I prep all my meat, I season my meat, I put it in the fridge so that when I at least come home from work, I just cook the meat real quick, and we always have that pot of rice, and
Right.
that's how we go. So that's my life hack on how I'm saving money.
Nice.
you know,
The meal prep it helps if you're trying to eat healthy because if you don't know what you're going to eat and you get hungry, you just eat whatever.
well, my meal prep is I kind of have an idea of whether it's curry chicken, stewed chicken. That's it. It's either curry chicken or Kevin be like, "What happened? We having brown stew chicken again?" Yes, we are. So
Yeah, you cooking Sunday. This is for Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Yeah.
but because our schedules are so like I don't have time because I'm
Yeah.
stretched out so many places, it's just easier for me to do that. So then my stepdad, what he ends up doing is sometimes he'll get the meat, season it up. Like once he comes from the grocery store, he'll get the meat, season it up, put it in a Ziploc bag, and then just mark it whatever the meat is. So when you come home, you just throw it in the pot and cook it, and that's it.
Yeah. Good. What advice would you give a single parent trying to save or invest for their child's future?
Um, Start understanding their talents ahead of time. You study your kids. I
Mm-hmm.
know exactly what talent each one of my kids has and what their weaknesses and their strengths are. I saw from an early age that my son was more of a mechanical, hands on kind of kid. So I pushed him into programs that were free, that based on like engineering and mechanics. So I had him set up where he has been in the aviation program since he's in ninth grade.
Mm-hmm.
He's been in those kind of situations where he's able to take like little STEM classes and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
The state and the cities provide a lot of courses that we have no clue about. They have dual enrollment. They have these where they go to both colleges at the same time. They also have technical schools that they can go to half regular school, half technical school. And they come out of high school with certifications, degrees. Like my son is graduating with 57 college credits. So he'll have, and all he has to do is an additional 5 months at that school, and he'll have his associate's degree. Plus, he'll have all these FAA certifications. So I did my research ahead of time that if, not if, he has a backup plan if college is not something for him, that he'll be making over $90,000 a year coming out of high school. Just
Mm-hmm.
because I did research on putting him into a program, and I knew from when he was at a young age, I couldn't afford him to go to college out of pocket. So I had to figure out how was my son going to go to college if I couldn't come up with the money.
Right.
Found a program, which was the aviation program, and I thank God for that program because it kept him on the straight and narrow his whole life, or his whole high school career. So
Mm-hmm. Awesome. That's
yeah, so you find the talents ahead of time because you know you like you just said you have two different kids. One is and one is more artsy and one is more they're just different.
yeah. What has been or who has been your biggest support system? I know the answer. And how have they helped?
Yes. You know what? I have a village. So I can't just pinpoint it on one particular person. My grandmother was a huge help. My mom is a big help. But I also found amazing people who helped me out with Kevin at that time. And even with the two smaller ones now. As you know, we work Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And all of their games and his activities were on the weekend. My
Mhm.
friends would take him on a Friday. They feed him. They play him. He'll stay the night, and then one of my friends is Melissa, and the other one is Ashley. And they kept my kids. They kept my kids, and they protected him, and they held him safe. And I met them because I put my son in sports.
Mhm.
I was able to create a single mom village because during the week I would pick their kids up when they were running from school from late or when they were running from work late to pick them up. I would get their kids, take them to practice, bring them to my house, bathe them, feed them, and we'll have like a whole feast. I'd have like 6, 7 kids at my house at one point. And then
Mhm.
the moms would come and pick them up, and that's how we just worked it out. So yeah, I had a good village. I still have a good village.
I know. I think I know you about 8 years or
Yeah,
more.
yeah.
And I always hear about Melissa and Ashley.
Melissa. It's
I've
all
never met Melissa. I've never met Ashley, but I hear about them all the time.
they help.
Okay. So something I'm learning to navigate through, right?
Mhm.
Because we're single parents and we're always ripping and running. How do you make time for yourself, like self-care? And why do you think as single parents we should really learn how to do this self-care thing for our own mental health? Why do you think it's important?
I sacrifice myself and my body for my kids a lot. Like we
Mhm.
gained so much weight, we've lost weight, all kind of stuff. I didn't get my nails done, I didn't get my hair done, but those little things make you feel good as a person. Um, so what I do is, like I said, my kids go to bed at a certain time. And between, if I can get them to bed at 7:30, thank God. The latest, like I said, is 9 o'clock because it's always a fight. But that window of peace that I'm able to read my Bible, do my homework, do whatever I can do even do facials, wash my face. It's such a relaxing thing where you don't have mommy, 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 mommy 24/7. Um, so I make sure I get my nails done, I get my feet done. That's just one Uber Eats I can't get, so that money, so I just use that money, and I'm like, oh, well, I just gotta eat what I got at the house. I can't stop at Chick-fil-A today. And literally, that's it's important, and it makes you feel good. And even if I can't expect, what do you call it? Have the most expensive makeup and things like that, I found little hacks. I find stores that go on sale, and I'm at even the dollar store. Like, not for nothing, they got good eyeliner at the dollar store, things like that, concealer. And I've been making sure that I put myself together because it makes me feel good that I look good.
Right.
And it's a confidence, it boosts your confidence, but you have to maintain yourself. And there's nothing wrong with picking up an outfit here and there. You know, the you what's how does the term go? If you feel rich, act rich. If you feel good, dress good. Things like that. And
Yeah. When you treat yourself good and you dress good, right? You feel good.
yeah.
Yeah. What strategies do you use to manage stress or burnout?
Exercising is a big thing for me. Exercising. I'm a compulsive eater. I like food. So when I'm stressed out, I'm eating all the sweets. I'll eat three, four ice creams.
Okay.
It's everything. Oh my God. But I exercise and I recognize when I'm stressed out. So again, I reach out to my village, and there's times that I'll go to my mom's house and I'll bring the kids over there, and she'll have them for like an hour or two, and that's just me just sitting on the couch and taking a nap. And sleeping is good, and I feel like people make it such a bad thing to sleep, but we
Oh,
need
yeah.
to sleep. We have to sleep. And when I'm at my burnout, I just need to rest. Like yesterday, I slept all day yesterday, and I don't feel bad about it. I don't feel bad about it at all. But exercise and sleep are my main thing.
Yeah, so they actually say women need more sleep than men. And
Yeah,
it's because women, we don't just do more, but we think more.
correct,
I don't know, sometimes even though you're not physical, if you were thinking the entire day, you get tired, right?
correct.
But women think more and our intuition is more sensitive than men. And that's the reason why, women are actually good leaders in business.
I feel it. And
So,
then another thing is the beach. For some
okay.
reason, when I get to the water, it calms me down, and the kids think they're having a good day, and it's for me to just relax and just get in touch with nature. So that's a big thing for me now.
How do you stay motivated and positive through tough days?
I have my faith in God and reading the Bible. I have a thing where when I listen to music and music doesn't satisfy me, it's called an unrested spirit, right? So those are my tough days when I have an unrested spirit. So if I'm at a if I can't find peace, I'll try to listen to music and music doesn't satisfy it. I'll watch TV and TV doesn't do it. I'll make a phone call to call somebody and nobody answers the phone. So that's God telling me you need to get into the word. So that's what always calms me down. So I either listen to my gospel music or
Mhm.
I'll listen to a sermon, and that kind of gets me back on track. So I stick to my faith in God, and that's what gets me through everything. Because at the end of the day, it could always be worse.
Oh
And
yeah.
live by that. It could be so much worse. And we don't appreciate what we have. We always look at what we don't have versus what we have. And even when my kids are stressing me out, I have to give thanks that they're healthy. They're in their right mind. They don't, they're fed. They may not get to eat filet mignon and steak, like all and shrimp every day, but they're fed and they're taken care of. And we have lights and water and things like that. So we have our necessities. So I always look at life like it could be worse.
That's so good. The gratitude.
Mhm.
So we met working at Miami Children's Hospital, and
Yeah.
one of the things, and this is why I say every chapter of your life has a purpose. And even when I was working at Miami Children's, and even just being in the hospital, I'm like, I don't see myself in healthcare for a long time.
Yeah.
But I believe that this chapter of just seeing like being at the children's hospital and seeing kids being sick for so many different reasons, accidents, incidents, viruses, diseases, and I'm like, thank God my kids are healthy.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes. So
It's
being grateful is good.
Yeah, because I mean, and I give so much props to the parents that are able to handle it. But I'm not saying I couldn't handle it. I'm just glad that it's not one of my burdens that I have to handle, or not. I wouldn't even say burden. It's not something that I have to handle. Because it's stressful. I just give grace and thank God for grace and mercy. So
How has being a single parent shaped your personal growth?
I had to figure out how to not be selfish, but also be selfish as a single parent. The sacrifices that I had to make, I had to either be a full time parent or be a parent where I was in school or I was doing this or I was doing that. So I had to make a decision. Am I going to be a present parent or am I going to just be solely into my books and just have my kids around babysitters, daycare, the whole life? And I wanted to be involved in my kids' life. And that was something that I had to learn. That was a selfless thing that I did. And I believe that that's helped my son become the man that he is now.
Mhm.
The selfish part about it was I am now at a point where I have to now put me first. Because if I'm not good, my kids aren't good.
Mhm.
And one of the things that I learned is my kids are not going to stay young forever.
Mhm.
So it's better to do it at a young age. And I wish I did because I thought I was going to miss out on everything. And I wish that I did more when they were younger because not that it doesn't matter when they're younger, but it doesn't affect them as much as when they're at age of reasoning, when they're like 9, 10, 11 years old, when they're able to really see
Mhm.
more things. So I wish I did things a little bit different with that, but at the same time, I feel like it's given me um, a sense of peace that I know I made the right decision for him. And I think he was the kid that needed me to be there the most versus how I'm doing it now because I'm back in school again. And I shouldn't say the most, but I just feel like all the kids are different. But I think he needed that attention more so than the other two.
And so just to be clear, Chantel has three kids and she's in school. So
Yeah.
there's no excuse. I have this coworker, she says, I think she's like 42, and her kids are older. They're like one already left, he's in college, and the other two is just about to finish high school. The other one is like just started high school, and she says, "Oh, I'm too old for school."
Oh no. Mm-mm. In my big age, listen, I'm the oldest one in class, but I don't care because I know that I got to put my other two through college. So I got to do something. I got to change up where I'm at now.
It's just no excuse no matter what. If you really have the desire to do something, it's no excuse
Yeah.
no matter what. That's the mentality. That's good.
Yeah.
What goals are you currently working towards now, and how do you balance them with parenting?
I have the luxury of working the night shift. So,
I don't call it luxury.
the luxury. But I could say I'm by myself.
Mhm,
And you know how we used to work. We knock everything out in the beginning so we can coast the rest of the shift.
mhm,
So I feel bad to say this, but I make sure I get all my work done and I make sure it's efficiently done. I'm not rushing it to make it a mess. I efficiently get all my work done so that I could read and study
mhm.
and I could still do work in between, but I'm able to do a lot of things in between. And then when I come home, I don't have the kids because they're in school. So I'm either sleeping and then I'm getting up and then I go and study again and do my homework. And then when I pick up the kids, then we run around and do our activities or whatnot, and then I go to work. So
Yeah,
it's a lot of, like I said, your routine has to stay where it's at and it's balancing that. So
yeah.
my goal is I want to finish the nurse practitioner program.
Mhm,
I can have some dollars for the kids later on, So when they call me from school and they be like, "Mommy, I need this. Mommy, I need that," I could at least bring like it without stress, be able to provide for them in a better manner. So that's my goal, and for myself, well, because I should have finished my programs in my 20s when I had the most help, and I didn't take advantage of it because I was being grown. So
and it's okay. It's okay. Like coulda, woulda, shoulda. We're right here now, and you're doing what you need to do.
yeah,
I just wanted to say, like, when Chantel and I was working, she used to be like, we did what we needed to do. And when it was downtime, she was like, just do your homework. Because I was doing my MBA at the time. And we were working graveyard shift. And she was always like, just do your homework, do your homework. I'll take care of it. So she's that kind of friend. She was like, she makes sure I'm taken care of.
yeah,
What's one thing though you wish you could tell yourself when you first became a single parent?
you'll be okay. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
I used to stress out a lot on being the best mom, having my son in the best fashions, and but it wasn't even worth it to be honest with you. To sit there and buy every Jordan and every polo and this, that, and the third, because the kid used to tear up the clothes anyway, and I used to spend so much money just to make sure. And all he wanted to do was just enjoy me as a mom and have
Mhm.
fun. And I recognized that I took stuff so serious, and I needed to him to be do 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 do. He had to be the best football player, the best basketball player, and what I should have done was let him be a kid and have more fun. So
Yeah.
I feel at times I could have been a little too hard on him, but that's what I knew to do. That's all I knew how to maintain with him. But when I look back at it, um, we had good times. Like especially me working night shift, I'd wake him up 4 o'clock in the morning. Like Kevin, you hungry? Let's go get some IHOP. Let's go somewhere. Let's go get somewhere. He'd be like, no, and I'm like, come, let's go. I used to have this kid all over the place. I feel like when I think about it, because we're zombies. We're up all night. I used to have this boy in the grocery store with me 4 o'clock in the morning going grocery stuff, but he was with it, and I just thank God. To be honest with you, I think God is what got me through every season of my life, and guided me, and I made good decisions. And even when I thought my decisions were bad, I look back at it and they were good decisions. So to be honest with you, I really don't have too much regrets. I just wish I wasn't too hard on him, to be a perfectionist, you know.
Yeah, so thank God the other two came later
Yes.
because Kevin got it up for both of them.
Yes. He got it all. He definitely got it all.
What's your thoughts on dating as a single parent?
It's possible. It's possible. But you have to really vet the person. Uh, there's people who say that they're ready to be, they'll be in a relationship with a person who has children, and they're really not. They just want to be with you, but they don't realize that you come with your package. I do find dating people who have children are more understanding than dating people who don't have children at all.
Yeah.
So if you can align your schedules when you have your this weekend or this weekend off or whatever, it'll work out good. But it's possible. Don't give up hope and don't feel that because you have 3 kids, you can't get into a relationship or your kids are too young.
Hmm.
God will put that person in your life. And I firmly believe that. But I take a lesson out of every relationship that I was ever in. And I learned from those relationships. But the main thing is to vet a person and you make sure that their actions speak louder than their words. Because there's some crazy people out there. So yeah, but for the most part, it's possible. Take your time, don't rush it, and don't be desperate. Do not be desperate.
Oh
Just
yeah.
yeah, that's the main thing is because when you're desperate, you fall into that trap, and you don't see any of the red flags, and then when later on down the line, you're like, oh my God, how did I not see that? Because you were desperate and you wanted to be in a relationship so badly, you accepted anything that they came with.
Yeah, don't confuse being lonely
Yeah,
versus being ready to be in a relationship.
yeah, exactly. 100%.
So my thoughts on that is the generation before us, especially the professional women, especially, I realize that when they become single, like get divorced or become a single mom, they just decide, I'm just gonna be a single mom. Some say after the kids go off to college or leave the house, but some just decide, this is it for me. I'm
Yeah,
being for the rest of my life.
I mean, I'm a product of that. You know, my grandmother, and this is a generational curse that I want to break because my grandmother was a single mom. My mom was a single mom. I didn't really understand what a relationship was until my mom finally remarried when we became adults. And I see the relationships she has now. And one of the things I want my kids to realize is even though I did it all, you don't have to do it all. And it's not normal for a woman to have to do everything. So don't feel like that is what life is supposed to be. Because how my stepdad loves my mom and how me at my big age, he don't tell him. God forbid I say step in front of him, he'll have a whole heart attack. I'm his daughter. He is my father, you know.
Uh,
And he accepts my kids as his kids, like his grandkids, and he loves them and he spoils the crap out of them. I'm like, oh my God. But I appreciate it because I now know what true love is, you know. I never saw it before, but I see how he is with my mom. And my mom is not the easiest person to handle, you know. But my grandmother, when she got to a certain age, she just stopped dating. She wrote
yeah.
it off. And my mom was like that for a long time. And I think she got comfortable when we were old enough, like we were out the house. And
Mhm.
I'm happy she did that because I would have hated to see her give up on love.
Yeah.
And
So
at her age now, that's her line is never give up on love because it's there.
yeah, so true. How do you how do you think you should introduce a new partner to your children?
Oh God. uh, I think a mutual play date is a good thing to do. Like, take them to Sky Zone, or if you're at the beach or something like that, meet at the beach and do something. But to bring them into the house and be like, "Hey, this is Bob. you know. Um, that could be a lot of pressure, but when you slowly integrate them in, I think that's a good thing. So I feel like in the future, if when that happens, I would meet at like Sky Zone or Chuck E. Cheese or something like that, and then have them slowly, or even if it's like the air show that happens or something like that, take them to an event where it's not too much, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Too much pressure, but it's in like an open space environment, if that makes sense. Um, but then even then, I personally don't know if I would have them constantly around the kids all the time. But in like, let's say we want to do something as like a group, like, hey, there's a concert or there's a fair or something like that. Let's take all the kids to the fair. I do something to that extent. So
What month?
slowly. I don't. I'm telling you that Russian because you don't want to have too many people around your kids, and that's something that I don't.
That's true. But and only introduce them to the kids once you confirm.
Correct. Confirm that this is the relationship, and this is like maybe And I have a friend. It took her almost 2 years for her to introduce her boyfriend to her kids.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah, two
Not
years.
just confirm it's gonna be a good relationship, but confirm that this person can be a good bonus dad or bonus mom.
Correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
and like I said before, everyone who says that they're ready to date someone with children, they really are not. Because when that
Yeah.
responsibility hits them and the person is not available, it changes. So you gotta
True.
work it out, but yeah, slowly. Don't rush it. Not no 1 month, 2 month. At least a good 6, 7 months. You know the person. If you know that this is going to be a good relationship, I said that would be the earliest 6, 7 months. Maybe even just date that person and enjoy them before you introduce them to the kids.
Yeah. I think they say it takes 3 to 6 months it's that 3 to 6 months to know, okay, this is gonna last or it's not
Yeah,
gonna last. And I
correct.
think
Yeah,
a lot of people they pass that 6 months and it's kind of like they're both lingering, not sure.
yeah.
Right?
I've been in that limbo. I've been in that limbo. I'm like, I don't know. But that's where your faith comes into play, and that's where you got to pray to see if you and that person are equally yoked, and you guys are going. Because you could date, but are you dating for marriage or are you dating for sport? So if you're dating just because you just want somebody to hang out with, I wouldn't introduce the kids. But if you're dating looking to be a long term partner or even married, then you would introduce them. So that's my advice.
Yeah. And I think when you know for sure exactly what you want in a partner, and like even me being single for such a long time, I'm clearing what I want. So when I
Mhm.
meet someone, because I already know what I want, my awareness is so high that when I meet this person, immediately in my head it's like check, check, check. And if I've come across something, a red flag or something, I'm like, okay, it's not going to work.
Yeah. And that's something that I'm still learning is how to deal with the red flags because I'm such a compassionate person and I'm like, oh, but I'm learning that we can't keep falling into love. We can't keep falling in love with potential. We have to
Yeah.
we have to fall in love with the reality and keep it like that. So that was a big issue is my learning how to deal with not looking at they potentially could be this. No, this is who they are. This is how you. This is what you're gonna get. So yeah, that's how I look at it. But yeah, it's a work in progress. I'm still working on it. So for myself.
And it's fine.
Mhm.
I'm still learning about myself.
Yes, because this is going into 40 is a whole new. Oh my god, it. You thought that you hit 21 and you're grown, and then I'm going to be 30. I thought I was so grown at 30, but my 40s is about peace.
Mhm.
And I am definitely, I don't want any, I mean, we're going to always have stress, but I am eliminating, and I have been eliminating so much toxic people out of my life. And I have not gotten into any big arguments. I'm not engaging. I'm not entertaining anything. I don't need that stress on me. So I feel better and I am more comfortable with myself as a woman, how I look, how I feel. And 40s, girl, 40s is a trip, boy. I tell you. I didn't expect this. It's like a whole new revelation in life. So
I know, let's not even go there. What's one misconception about single parents that you'd like to debunk?
That we chose to be single parents. I think that's a thing. I always used to hear that, like, you chose to be a single parent, but I don't
Mhm.
think anybody really goes into a relationship thinking that they're going to be raising a kid by themselves, um, and that we're all toxic. I believe that that's something that, and I've learned to not criticize people with multiple baby fathers or baby mothers,
Mhm.
because some people are just, they just fall in love quick. They, now there's like, I'm not, and I hate to put his name out there like that, like Nick Cannon. That's a whole different story or whatever. But I just feel like we're not all toxic people, and I feel like a lot of people fell in love and they thought it was gonna work and it didn't work, and we had to make a good decision to make sure our lives were in a better place, and we had to step away from it. So
Right.
yeah, that's how I look at it. We're not all toxic, and we did not choose this life, or at least I didn't choose this life. I didn't want that because I always wanted to have what I didn't have. Give my kids what I didn't have, was a two-parent family. So, what
And
is
then
it?
what's one advice that you would give someone who recently became a single parent, whether it's a single mom or a single dad?
Be open to help. I thought I can do everything by myself and I didn't need anybody. And my mom, like I said, I love her to death, and she is the best person in the world to me, but she's a lot to handle. And I'd rather go to my friend, be like, Melissa, girl, can you watch the kids? Because if I tell my mom, you know what I'm saying? She's gonna,
I think most Caribbean parents are
yeah,
to deal with like
it's a lot. It's a lot.
on a different level.
Yeah, but they mean well, you know,
Yeah.
really do mean well. And
It is just at a different level.
yeah, they're intense. They're intense people, but accept the help. Especially if it's safe, healthy help, just accept the help and put your pride to the side because you're going to need help. Like I take this back. We always made just enough money that we never qualified for government assistance, right? So it was always like, oh my God, I'd apply and I'm like, I still can't get nothing. Like we always made too much money, and I'm like, but we're still struggling.
Yeah.
So what I had to do was open up my mouth and accept help, and then I had to also budget myself in a way where I can't keep living above my means.
Right.
So that was the thing. Accept the help. That's a,
That's true.
yeah.
I'm,
Just
I'm the type of person, like my parents grew me up, be independent, right? Both parents, they stressed it, especially my dad.
mhm.
And his thing was, so you don't have to depend on anybody. If you're in a relationship, you can always leave because you have your own, or you can have your own,
A
right?
100%. Yes.
Yeah. And
Agree.
I always had my own. And so I took independence to another level. Like you said, ask for help. I never asked for help. It was just recently, like sometimes, I do it all by myself and I do well at it. But sometimes, I have to go out of town. So
Yeah.
I'm like, Mommy, can you help?
Hmm.
And it's my dad always offers help, like especially financial. And I'm like, nope, I'm good. And it was recently I had to like, you need some help right now,
Yeah.
right? So I asked for help and I was like bracing myself. And because Caribbean parents.
Yeah, because you gotta hear the lecture. I don't
Yeah,
want to hear
yeah.
all of that. I don't want to hear that.
So, my dad helped me and I knew he would,
Mhm.
and I don't take advantage of my parents. And
Exactly.
I was able to pay him back and I was like, whoo.
Trust me, because my mom would do it if I ask her. But this is, I'm gonna give you a joke. My mom goes to Costco. It's just her and my stepdad in the house, but she has so much toilet paper and paper towels, and she's got all this dish soap and laundry detergent. I'm like, shit, I need laundry detergent real bad. And I found out what my mom does is, because I don't ask for help, she buys it
Mhm.
so that she knows I'm gonna come to the house and take her stuff. So, but because I don't ask for help, I'll just like, even the other day, I'm like, shit, I gotta go get garbage bags. I said, Kevin, go to the house, go get some more garbage bags for mom. But I know she does it, but I don't ask for help because I have so much pride. I always
Right.
think I can do everything by myself. Not that I didn't have the money, I just didn't have the time to go to the store because it's chaotic. I don't have time. I don't know about you in Georgia, but Costco for us here is hell. It is hell. Like you can't.
It's crazy here. Yeah.
Jesus. And it's like, it's even BJ's. I dread going into Walmart. I dread because it takes up so much of my time, you know? And I still haven't found a hack for that yet. But my mom, she has all the time. She goes to Costco and she's shopping for 4 or 5 hours. And I don't have time for that. So, but yeah, so it's asking for help. It's just open
Yeah.
your mouth. And you got to put your pride to the side at times, you know?
I think for me, I just took independence to a different level where I'm like, you're gonna do this thing by
Yeah.
yourself.
But that's pride, though. It's pride. That's not pride. We put the, yeah,
Yeah.
it's pride.
And it's like it's I just don't ask for help, period. And it's funny because when the help comes, it's like I don't know how to act.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're also used to doing it all by yourself, that if somebody opens the door for you or offer to take out the garbage, you're like, huh?
Yeah, yeah. I'm telling you, my mom says it all. Like my mom barely watches my kids. I always have my kids, right? So if I ask you, it's because I really need you to help me, and I do not abuse my village. It's when I need you, they're like, okay, she asking for help. She really need the help, you know.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. Let me also say is, if you can do it yourself, do it. But if you really need the help, just take the help.
Yeah, I remember when I had just bought my house in Atlanta and daddy came to help me to move. And I didn't ask. He was
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm coming. I'm like, hmm. And just like when I was moving to Atlanta and he came to Miami and he's like, I'm coming to help you. I'm like, I never asked you to help.
Mhm.
But anyway, he came to Atlanta, and I remember I was going back to work
Mhm.
because I took time off to move in. I was going back to work, so I was getting breakfast ready and getting ready for work. And the pot was bubbling over. So he comes and he's helping. And I'm like, no, I got it. Then he's like, you don't want me to help you? It's
Listen.
just like even mommy, she comes and she's retired, so she's bored. She's looking
Mhm.
for stuff to do around the house, and it's like I'm like, no, I have the laundry. And she's like, oh, you don't want me to help you? Oh, I'm gonna help.
It's just,
And she takes it wrong, but I'm like, I like it my way. I love it my way. It's okay if you help, but
listen, I swear to you, I haven't had any time to clean my yard. I have a whole garden in the yard and they're overgrown with weeds. The grass is cut, but it's just overgrown. And my stepdad came to the house and he was like, why you didn't say you needed help? And I'm like, well, I was gonna get to it. I was gonna get to it. And you know what he did? He's such a blessing. I came home from work the other day and the whole backyard, he weeded all my garden. I have banana trees, plantain, papaya. I have a whole basket full of papaya and banana. I'm like, oh, and I'm so grateful. But he did it because they know we needed the help and we're not going to ask for the help.
yeah.
Yeah. But
And he's a good man.
yeah.
So Chantel came to work and he fixed me a plate.
He's always, because he like compliments. He want to hear everybody like his food. So
And he can cook. He can cook.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No, honest to God, and like what I love about him is if he knows I'm working, he'll cook food and he'll either bring me food or he'll pass by the house. I got food for you, and that's it. And they take care of us like that because they know that we're not going to ask for help. So I appreciate that.
That's true. What's your hope for your children to learn on your journey as a single parent?
Um, my hope is that they don't become single parents. That's my prayer, and I hope that they each have they marry into healthy families and healthy relationships.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that they lead with God, and there's going to be their ups and their downs. But my hope is that they definitely they marry into healthy families with healthy and they maintain healthy relationships. I wish I could sit there and say I had a family member that was married for 40 years, 50 years, and with the ups and downs, that I just hope that they are able to maintain healthy relationships, and that what I've shown them, they know what to do as adults, and they follow some of most of everything I try to teach them, because even though I go through it, I also educate them and be like, listen, Kevin, when you get to a certain age, when you're a man, you need to be the provider, you need to do this, you need to do that. You make sure that she don't have to tell you to take out the garbage. If you see dishes in the sink, help her out because she works just like you work. You know what I'm saying? If she doesn't have to drive for where she, you know what I mean? Just things like that. And I try to, I as a woman, I know I can't teach them all of the things, or I can't teach him or teach my boys all of what it is to be a man, but at least they know what they should do to treat a woman. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I my prayers for them is to maintain healthy relationships. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's my prayer for them. Because again, I did not, we don't choose to be single parents.
Right.
It's a blessing, but it's still sometimes, it's a gift and a curse in the same way, because we get to raise our kids how we want to raise them without having to answer to anybody.
Right.
But it's sometimes it's easy to have the help,
Mm-hmm.
easier to have that partner.
What's one legacy or impact you want to leave for your children?
You see, we're hard workers. That's one thing. One thing I always say is you're a hustler. Like, you're always gonna make sure you make it happen. And what I've loved about you was I've never known a day for you to be negative. And even at your worst, and when you were just burnt out, you still found a positive avenue into everything. And I remember the day you packed up and you were like, "We're going." I drove your ass all the way to Atlanta, and I was so proud of you because you fought and you did everything in your power, but you knew you had a bigger purpose, you know? And I think your kids are going to see that. One thing my mom never did was she never gave up. And
Mm,
she always found a way to make sure that we had. And I hope that my kids see that I never gave up on them. And I'm going to keep fighting for them. And I hope that they become fighters and they achieve everything in their dreams. So
that's
that's
awesome.
why going to school now is, it doesn't matter how old you are, you finish it. Finish what you started.
And you brought tears to my eyes. So Chantel, when I moved from Miami, I mean, yeah, Miami to Atlanta, Chantel was the one that drove from all the way from, she lived in Homestead,
In the country.
Homestead, and we drove all overnight. We drove from Miami to Atlanta, and I was supposed to be sleeping. But my adrenaline was so high that I couldn't fall asleep. And she drove the whole way. I'm like, I wake up. No, I get up and I'm like, you want me to drive? No, 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 you sleep. And I think it was your first time to Atlanta, right?
Yeah, that was my first time. Yep.
She was like, no, 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 you sleep. And of course, just when we got into Atlanta, that was when I fell asleep.
And that's when I'm like, oh God, I can't do this. Them highways were something else. But we made it.
Yeah, we did. All right. So we're at the end of the interview, and I have two questions, fun questions that I ask everybody at the end.
Okay.
So if I was a genie and I gave you one wish to be anywhere in the world, where would you want to be? Anywhere.
Ah, um, I want to say Fiji. I
Okay.
want to be there. I want to be on the beach, living off the grid. Like, that's all. I just want to be on the water. That's it. No hurricanes, no tsunamis. Just living off the grid on the beach.
Of course, always by the beach.
Yeah.
And then I've asked you a million questions. So I'm giving you the opportunity to ask me one question.
Oh God. What are you most proud of right now?
Um, I think just what you said that I never gave up.
Yeah.
And so, like last week when I told you I got sick, right?
Hmm.
Um, I think it was God that made me sick.
Yeah.
Like I was in bed all week and I had time to think. I was forced to think. Well, I'm a thinker anyway, so I overthink and I was just reminiscing on my journey.
Okay.
Like, it's even like you said, through difficult times, I never gave up.
Hmm.
And I think majority of the times I don't think because I know nobody's coming to save me.
Yeah.
And I'm built for this, right? You may not want to be alone by yourself. Like I'm built for this, I can do it, right? And so just the fact that, I've been doing it by myself, right? And to think, okay, my kids are healthy. My kids have all A's in school. You know what I'm saying? We always have roof over our head. We always have hot meals on the table. You know, we can always say we're not where we want to be, but
Correct.
when I look at when I left Miami to where I'm at right now, I'm like, that's a huge
Yeah.
growth.
I'm telling you, even but you've always stayed consistent, and your mind has always been bigger, and you always saw the bigger picture of life. And what I will tell you is that pushes other people to do good. And
Mm-hmm.
motivation, even when I was like, I can't do this no more, I don't want to hear anything, you still were sending me motivational stuff. You're still sending me podcasts. And I'm like, I don't want to watch it. And I'm listening to it. And I'm like, I'm so happy she sent this to me. I'm so
Yeah.
happy I'm listening to this because your light is so bright. It's so bright. So
Aw.
keep going. Keep fighting. Trust
Don't
me.
let me cry.
No, but I'm telling you for real, you don't realize that your spirit is a, even though you're so quiet, which people probably don't even realize, you're so quiet, you have a fighting spirit, a very fighting spirit. So that's a
Yeah.
blessing.
It's thank you for saying that because even the other day, because Faith was the one that got me to doing this podcast. And
Yeah.
you know me, I'm quiet.
Yeah.
I don't talk. And I'm like, you're an introvert, you hate social media. And then I was like, you know what? But this is really your purpose
Mhm.
to talk about our journey. And like everybody I interview, every single parent, every single mom I've interviewed, at the end, they told me this felt like therapy,
It is.
just
And
talking, you know?
mhm. But
And
see, but that's our village. That's what our village does. Is
yeah,
this person has, and it's something. It's therapeutic because you're not alone. You know.
yeah. And that's why I created this platform so we can uplift and empower and help each other. Because sometimes it's hard. You're like, yo, I can't do this, you
No.
know? And you just throw your hands up in the air sometimes, like,
No, for real.
as you pick up, you're tired, you're burnt out, you're stressed. And at times you like you just surrender, like, yo.
As if like we said, if a monkey wrench messes up your routine, it's everything falls down like a domino effect, and
Yeah.
yeah. So
But we're at the end, and I just wanted to say thank you so much for
you're
sharing.
welcome.
And
Thank you for having me.
no, thank you. You shared a lot, and I think everybody's story resonate with somebody. So this is gonna inspire somebody, touch somebody. And guys, she has 3 kids. She's a single mom, and there's no excuse.
No excuse.
Yeah, ask her. I was working 2 jobs
Oh
and an MBA and a single mom.
yeah,
I completed it with honors. So you have no excuse. Again, Chantel, thank you so much.
you're welcome.
One love, my sister.
Yes, always.